Hello, everybody. Hello, right now, na 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 na. ETEM Hitap, Sini Sinet, Uncle Josh Seneb, Dua, for listening. Ba'u Imra, Souls and Ra. Uh, Greetings, brothers and sisters, of course. Assadam Carter and me, some would say in the Middle Egyptian, I would tell you Assadam Carter and the older Egyptian. Um, Uncle Wasjed, life, stability, and strength to you all. Life, strength, and health, Uncle Josh, and that to you all. And I'm just waiting. Just give it a little more time. Make sure everybody can get tuned in. Grab something to drink real fast, real quickly. Get my water ready. Let's prop the computer up a little higher for me. This way you guys can hear me clearly. I know some people be on CP time, so you don't want to start it too early. They'll never hear it. They'll be yup, yup, yup. ETM Hitap, Seba Patasa. He's in the house. Him in here a little in a few. In a few. Impromptu. I'm always, you know. (402). ETEM Hitap Sini Senet Uncle Wasjed Uncle Josh Seneb Ubenefer Ikar Pa Nebu, as my brother Sar would say. Shout out to Saber Reggie. Shout out to Seni Jabari Osazi. He's a Saber as well. Shout out to him. Shout out to my Seshu my Ani Medunecha brothers. The brother Hush Your Mouth is usually in the building. They just did a show the other night. Incinets. They got the sisters in there. They're getting busy. Make sure you go start to learn the Medunecha. Learn the Medunecha, not just who else we want to shout out today? Shout out to Team Osiris, Team Asar. That's what you better name it. That's where y'all need to go with it. My brother Kansu, Melvin over there. Several brothers over there. What up? What's the brother's name? I can't even remember the brother's name. My brother and Ghost, all them brothers over there. Shout out to the Amirat squad, of course, you know. But let's hop in, right? Today, we're going to cover one of the tunes of a brother, general, who was a general, General Herkuf. Herkuf, pardon me. My throat is kind of rusty right now. But General Herkuf was a general of ancient Kemet. And being a general in that area, there's a few things that he had to deal with I thought should be covered, especially with asking questions about Anpu in the ISUPK camp, etc., etc. and also asking questions about, what is the daily of the Ramech people? What do they? Why do you study ancient Kemet, etc., etc.? So this is a very good tomb to look at. Just one of several, but very good tomb to look at. And we're going to answer a couple questions of some, recent information that's popped up saying, is Anpu real? Is Anpu this, etc., etc.? So I just decided to go to the brother's tomb. You'll note something about was the location where southern Kemet, upper Kemet, if you will, in Libya and the Sudani regions, and vice versa. And you'll notice that the brother in charge is Nubian. He's also a Khenti-hen-nefer. He's a Nahesi. He's one of the righteous. So we're going to dispel some things about the respect Nubia and or Kemet and Khenti-hen-nefer. Or Egypt, Khenti-hen-nefer, which you would call Nubia. So you can get some proper understandings. But I'm overdoing it. So let's hop in, right? We're going to go into his text of the door, right? So I'm not just going to be talking today. I'm also sharing screen. So let's go quick screen share so you can just see about a little bit. And I'll be kind of just sharing the screen for you. Where's my screen share? There's my screen share. Back in time, life in ancient Kemet, etc., etc. But take a look at the brothers' locale, and I'll also put the English information up for you, just so you can see, right? So here's his location. That is his location. This is his reality. There, that's the door. There's inscriptions all over this area here. You can actually see an outline of the brother here. Outline of the brother here. Just so you get an idea of his reality. Brother Herkueth. Let's look at his literature. I'll let you see the same thing I'm seeing. I have another, you see a few other pages up that have it in Medu, which in case I decide to go into the Medu Netch, I just wanted to pull it directly from the source, right? So it says, may the king and Anpu, Anubis, Anpu is what we would call him, he who is on his mountain, divine chapel, who resides in the place of embalming, the Lord of the Tad Digesser and offering. May the prince governor of Upper Kemet, treasurer of the king of Lower Kemet, the sole companion lector priest, chief of inspectors, the Imaku, Sokar, Herkuf, having reached a great age and endowed with the quality of Imaku, be entombed in the necropolis of the Western Desert. Some of you don't know the names of the chief. Several titles in ancient Kemet. First and foremost, we see who and what he is. They call him a balmer. He's an Anpu. That's what the chief lector priest was. They were an Anpu. Notice who does the weighing of the heart by the scale. You notice who's checking the scale. Anpu. And Jehuti is recording what's happening. And Ma'at, the scale itself, usually has an occasion, or we know that to be the scale of Ma'at. The name for the lector priest is Herej Dada Zakau Demdejet. He's the chief lector priest, and he's also the scribe of the divine books. Zekerej Heb, Herej Dada, and he's a Zakau Demdejet. Okay. in case you don't know, right? So he's a chief lector priest, that head of the funeral processions, and he's also a scribe of the divine books. So he's a sesh of the divine books. He does also a general. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is also the governor of Upper Kemet. He's also the treasurer to the king of Lower Kemet, right? He's also an interpreter. So these are several jobs in ancient Kemet still do today. Look at how they did their job then. Trust me, it will assist you in how you do your job now. It will perfect blueprint for you. Do it in Ma'at and Ma'ah, which is very important. Praise or the divine, the heck in it. So let's keep reading. Let's go. The king and Asar, Lord of Busaris, deemed to grant an offering. He, the prince, chamberlain attached at Nekin, chief of Nekeb, the sole companion. The Yamaku to Asar, Herukov, walk in peace on the sacred ways of the west, where the Yamaku usually walk, and may he rest the Lord of the sky in his rank of Imaku. And then there's a piece that's broken off. As you've seen the door there. Again, just so you know what's going on. I'll show you the door in a minute. Let's keep reading, right? May the king deign to grant an offering. May bread and beer when invoked in the necropolis. May he be transfigured by the lector priest at each year's beginning, at each feast of Jehuti, on the New Year's Day, at the Wag festival, at the time of each feast of Sokar, at the time of every great feast and every daily festival. So let's stop right there. First and foremost, this is in the fourth dynasty, right? This is what they would call the fourth family, as broken down by me. The fourth dynasty. This is way back in the day. Okay, it's one of the early brothers who was a governor, and we get a little something about calendars. And I mentioned this only because my brother Patasik is there, and he just did a calendar. Make sure you pick that calendar up if you get the chance, because he put in hard work, and it's an observation by someone who knows their astronomical figures. Simple as that. Whether you agree with the time of the calendar or you do not agree with the time of the calendar, it's definitely a usable calendar, and you will find several things a lot easier for your day if you go that route. And of course, when an elder puts out a work, it's definitely worthy of looking over. We want to spend money with them because they put their hard work into this, right? So just so you know. But back to the subject. Elect a priest. Another Anpu, other Anpus took care of his body, and they will transfigure him, or they'll basically remember him at each year's beginning, at each feast of who? Of Jehuti, New Year's Day. Two things we can say for sure with the primary resource, that the first of the year, the feast of Jehuti happens. The New Year's Day, the month of, is the month of Jehuti. It says Thoth here, but that's the month. And we also know that the Wag festival takes place at that time. We also know that each feast of Sokar, so not the Wag festival doesn't necessarily take place at the beginning of the year, but the Aku, the transfigure, the Imaku, or the Maku, if you will, the Aku, the transfigured forms, your ancestors are remembered when? At the beginning of the feast of Jehuti, the new year, at the Wag festival, right? And at the time of the feast of Sukkot, and at the time of every great feast and every daily festival. That's what it says. So remember the Aku daily. And you have a primary resource. You have Herukuf's tomb to make sure that you know when, why, and how, right? Let's keep going. Chief of interpreters, the brother Herukuf says this. He says, I came today from my town. I came from my septat, my Hespu, my known, right? Hespu is the Greek in the book of Ma'at I gave. And if you took the test, you seen I put what's another name for Hespu, and I put septat. Septat is what we call a town. Nome is a new term. That's for town. But anyway, he says, I came today from my town. I came from my septat. I built a house. I dug a lake, planted sycamores. The king praises me. My father made a testament in my favor. I'm an excellent man, loved by his father, praised by his mother, loved by all his brothers. I gave bread to the starving, a garment to he who was naked. I ferried him who had no boat. All right. So let's be clear. Family is very important in ancient Kim. This is why when you go into these tombs, you're not just walking in there to look at a bunch of pretty pictures, right? You want to know the lifestyle. You want to know if these people are worthy of following. Not just because they're your ancestors, not just because they're family, not just because you can trace back your lineage, not just, a spiritual endeavor with those in ancient Kim. You need to know how they live their lives. Is it worth making that spiritual endeavor? Are these righteous people? Right? Before you start using the term Ma'at, are these Ma'at people? Are these righteous people? So as you can see, this brother takes family very seriously. He was praised by his father, by his mother, and all his brothers. And you get another lesson in taking care of the homeless. He fed people who were starving. He gave bread to the starving, he says. He gave a garment to he who was naked. He taking the clothes off his own, like, here. Don't be out here like that. I got you. And he would take people across the water on his boat. What governor would do that today? That's why there needs to be a change in the White House, right? Very important information about family life, about respect for kith and kin, and about having a true heart, a heart that's judgeable by Ma'at and not found wanting on the scale. Let's keep going. O you living who are upon the earth and who pass before this tomb, whether going upstream or downstream on the river, say. He's telling you something to say. May 1,000 loaves and 1,000 pots of beer belong to the owner of this tomb. Thanks to them, I may pass my life in the necropolis. I am an excellent spirit, educated, elected priest, whose mouth is learned. So this is an intelligent brother. This is an educated brother, right? And you always hear ancient Kemet was not learned. So-and-so was not this. So-and-so was not that. Oh, they were all ignorant, etc., etc. But the brother is telling you right from the door. He's saying, when you pass by my tomb, if you go past my tomb, up or down river, going to Nubia, up river, going to Greece, down river, exiting one of the mouths of the Nile, say something for the brother, man. Right? Show some love is what he's telling you. Show some love for me. I got busy on your behalf. That's what he's telling you, right? Let's look at his tomb a little more. If you see this tomb going up and down river, I know that you passed its marker. Say something. You see all this writing he made sure was left for you? You can see they cut that wall pretty bad. Even Pepi II wrote a letter on his behalf. It's inscribed on the tomb, right? Pepi II did that. Made sure it was written for the brother, right? Let's read more. I told you, if you're living and you pass that tomb, speak for the brother. Say something courteous, right? Let's go up some. As for any man who enters this tomb as if it were his own, I shall seize his neck, and for that he shall be judged by the great Necher. So when you step in his tomb, you better step in there with respect, right? That's how you should be. That's how you need to be. Some people would usurp tombs and make them into their own. So I'm telling the painters at Kemet right now, do not disrespect when you try to read and make him look, like something different than an African. Do not disrespect, or I would hope his curse falls upon you. I will hope his cursings fall upon you if you disrespect his tomb and you go over there and you paint it. Do your best work, or don't touch it at all. One or the other, right? Let's keep going. I'm a man who speaks well and repeats willingly that which is liked. Never have I reported bad things to a powerful man so that, as a result, he acted against someone. All will go well with me before the great Necher. Nor have I ever judged two brothers such that one son be disposed of. So the governor was in charge of wills. Also, one of his jobs. He's also a wild priest, but we haven't gotten to that yet. He's in charge of wills. So as a governor of a certain part of the country, he's letting you know that if you approach him with the deed, a parent has died and land is left for two brothers or a sister or whoever, he's going to judge it accordingly, right? He's going to make sure the deed is put out accordingly. This is usually a job for real estate people right now, stuff of that nature, lawyers, if you will. This brother was all that rolled into one, right? So the lesson learned, go do more than one thing, right? Step out there. From this brother, the lessons you learn from this brother, he's a governor. He's a lawyer. He's a treasurer. All jobs that you need to sort out. He's over taxes, obviously. These are jobs in ancient Kemet that you need to be taking on the role of today. You need to go do these jobs. This is what we were responsible for. These are some of the lessons you should learn when you make the silly statement, what can I learn from ancient Kemet today? You fool. If you make that statement, it just lets me know you're not a fool. It just lets us know you don't read. You don't read. You YouTube lecture your whole life away. Go read the wall. Already you've learned a wealth of knowledge and you have key things to try to apply yourself to. Economically, as economic endeavors, as a new lifestyle for you. Go learn taxes. You know, it's $150 to be a representative of H&R Block. And from doing taxes at H&R Block, you could turn around and open your own tax service. You understand? You understand what you can be and what you should be. Just from looking at this brother's life. Let's keep going. May the king deign to grant an offering. May Anpu, who is on his mountain and who presides at the divine chapel, deign to grant an offering. May bread and beer come forth when invoked for him. For the Imaku to Anpu, who is on his mountain and who presides in the divine chapel, the prince lector priest, sole companion, lector priest, chief of interpreters, the Imaku, Herukuf. So we go back to that Anpu question again. Anpu is obviously not a man with a dog head walking around. Obviously not. The lector priest will put on dog head masks to perform tasks, yes, in acting as Anpu would in the mythos, in the psychology, right? But let's be clear, Anpu resides in the divine chapel, the Per-Ah, the Per-Ankh, the Per-Ah in particular, and you offer to that aspect of nature. That's what was venerated in this part of town at the divine chapel. Offer some bread and some beer to the lector priests who take care of your body, who bury you, who take care of your afterlife needs. Are you starting to understand the aspect of Anpu? I would hope so. I would hope so, right? Let's go further. This is the right of the prince's tomb. You see him? It's the brother here. He's also a prince, by the way, if you didn't know. I told you this was him on the right. This is what it says there. It says the prince, sole companion, lector priest, chamberlain, a chief of Nekeb, treasurer of the king of Lower Kemet, sole companion, lector priest, chief of interpreters, secret advisor for all business concerning the south of Upper Kemet. This brother advised on all the business in Upper Kemet, and he was the treasurer of Kemet. He who is in the heart of his royal lord, Herukuf, treasurer of the king of Lower Kemet, lector priest, chief of interpreters, who has brought back to the produce of all foreign lands for his royal lord, and who has brought gifts for the ornament of the king, the queen, the steward, the southern lands of Upper Kemet, who spreads the fear of Heru in foreign lands, who accomplished that which is praised by his royal lord, the treasurer, the king of the lord of Kemet, the sole companion, the lector priest. Now you see they say his name several times. So if you get a title of this nature, or college, wherever you may be, tout it, tote it. It's like when someone becomes a doctor, you no longer call him Mr. Doctor. You say, hey, Mr., I'm a doctor. Oh, Dr. So-and-so, right? So learn to respect the titles that you've earned and achieved, right? This is something we've made up. It's fourth dynasty material. You know how far back the fourth dynasty goes, right? We're talking Pepi II here, Merenra. We created this stuff. We created this stuff way back then. Way back then. Okay. Now let's go further. I think we've dispelled any Anpu comprehension. Brother Tazari, holler at me if none of that sunk in, right? If nothing sunk in, holler at me. We can discuss Anpu some more, right? We can discuss him some more. Like I said, this is fourth dynasty material. So here's Pepi II's letter on the wall about the great regard of Herukuf, the type of brother he is. There goes that same portion again, showing the brother. It's another one. It's getting life. As you see, he's doing it. They got the looks like they're doing the opening the mouth ceremony there. Not sure what's going in the mouth there. It's too distorted for me to see to read for you. But inside the brother's tomb a little bit, right? You see him there with his staff. This is how a boss does it, right? He's a boss. He's doing his thing big time, right? Let's talk about his travels, right? He's going to his travels because he wasn't just in Kemet. This is a Nubian brother, right? His Majesty, Merin Ra, my master, sent me, together with my father, sole companion elected priest, Iri, to the land of Yam, an area located in modern-day Sudan, right? So the brother's coming from Aswan, and he's going down to the Sudan to explore it. I carried out this mission in 7 months. I brought back all sorts of tributes, beautiful and rare. I was praised for it very highly. His Majesty sent me a second time, alone. I went by way of the Elephantine Road and returned via the land of Irtet, Maker, and Terrace of Irtet. So now you're getting that he was able to leave by to go to the Sudan. At the end of a voyage of 8 months, I returned carrying tributes of this land in very great numbers, of a kind which nobody had ever brought to Kemet before. I returned coming from the camp of the chief of Setu in Irtet after having explored this land. So we know Set was venerated there. You have a town called Setu. He's talking about the chief of Setu in Nubia. Another location there was called Irtat, right? All in the Sudan. This is where he's at. He's going to Nubia. You will find no other sole companion, chief of interpreters, who has reached so far into the land of Yam before. So he went the furthest of his time into the land of Yam, another name for Nubia. Setu, another city in Nubia, or Yam. Irtet, another location in Nubia. So you got three different states in the land of Nubia: Setu, Irtet, and Yam. So you should quickly, jot those down. This way you can start to make distinctions and know the who, how, and the what, right? Now, he says, His Majesty sent me for a third time to the land of Yam. Here, from the Sepdot of Thinus, or Tennis, if you will, by the Oasis Road. And I observed that the chief of the land of Yam had left for the land of the Timahu. You've heard Brother Jabari say this, the Tamahu, he says, and you can say that, or Timahu. As you know, the vowels can be interchangeable. Timahu is what they have here. Tamahu is what Brother Jabari would say. That's where he learned it. So the Tamahu, to chastise them. So he's going to see the Tamahu to chastise them. As far as the western corner of the sky, I followed his trail to the land of Tamahu, and I pacified him until he adored all the Necheru for the sake of the royal sovereign. So the brother, the chief of Setu, whose name we don't have, so one of the kings of Nubia, if you will, or one of the generals in Nubia, set out to Tamahu. And this brother followed that brother to Tamahu. Roll up on some Tamahu and check them in. So you got a Nubian and another Nubian, or somebody from Khenti-hen-nefer. You got a Nehesi and another Nehesi. One Nehesi is venerated in Kemet. The other Nehesi is a king of Khenti-hen-nefer, Nubia, rolling out. Now, the one from the chief from Setu, the Nubian from Setu, or the Nehesi, I'm trying to just help y'all start to get the words together. Setu rolled up on the Tamahu That's some European foreign land, if you don't know. Brother, also a Nehesi from Kemet, rolled up to follow him and come up after him to roll on these cats together. So when they say that Kemet and Egypt were always at odds and they this, that, the other, case. It's not the case. Good kith and kin, and you see these two brothers rolled up on them together, and the one was just following him because he said he went to Setu, he wasn't there, so he followed. He went out to Tamahu to out Tamahu as far as the western corner of the sky. In other words, to chase them. Foreigners of Kemet fair. Nubians and Egyptian doing it together, right? Let's go further. Let's go further. I shall make haste with the man from the land of Yam, so that his majesty Meron Ra, my royal lord, shall know that I went to the land of Tamahu, following the chief of the land of Yam. After having given satisfaction to the celebrated chief, I returned the south of the land of Irtet, the north of Setu. I met the chief of Irtet, Setu Wawat, Irtet. I returned with 300 donkeys, burdened with incense, ebony, Hekenu perfume, in case you never heard Heken before. He returned with the praiser's perfume. Makes you smell good. Now, if you looked on my G Plus page or you looked on the Facebook page, I've told you before, so in other videos, the Hekenu fragrance, praises of the divine's fragrance, was in high demand. If you don't know, I say it again. I say it again, right? He returned Hekenu perfume, grain, elephant tusk, many boomerangs, all kinds of beautiful and good presents. Setu Wawat saw how strong and numerous were the troops, returning with me towards the residence, marching in the company of the army which had been sent with me. He handed over to me bulls and goats, guiding me through the ways of the hills, because of the skill and the vigilance which I had shown more than any other companion, chief of interpreters, former envoy to the land of Yam. Followed the course of the river as far as the residence, and it was arranged that the prince, sole companion, steward of the two halls of libation, came to meet me with ships loaded with date wine, cakes, beer, and or bread and beer. Let's say his name again. The prince, treasurer to the king of Lower Kemet, sole companion priest, treasurer of the Netcher, secret counselor for the decrees, the Herkua. The brother came with soldiers from Yam, Nubian soldiers rolling with it. Of Khenti-hen-nefer. This is Egypt doing business with ancient Nubia after they chased out an Asiatic. And now they sit down and they do business, right? Now they sit down and they do business. Now, there's another thing. There's a dance. There's the dance of the Netcheru. They say that what we call pygmies or dwarfs, what we call dwarfs, the pygmies, they did the dance the best. They did the dance the best. They could cut the rug if you. So the king also the brother this. Look and see what he needed. He wanted one of the pygmies to come back, enjoy the rewards of ancient Kim, royal dancer, because they danced. They used to cut the rug. Let's go in. Seal of the king himself, second year of his reign, third month of the season, Arket, 15th day. Royal decree to the sole companion, lector priest, chief of interpreters, Herkueth. As I have acquainted myself with the words of your letter, which you addressed to the king in the palace to inform him that you traveled in peace to the land of Yam. In case anybody says it was beefing and etc. and this, that, the other, the brother just came in peace. The king sent the army with him. The Yam army, not the Egyptian army. Remember, he went by himself on that last trip. And the king from Yam was like, just take my army, roll up on these cats and let it be known what's up. He said, take my army, go over there, and when you finish, come back and sit back with your brother, man. Come kick it. Have a beer on me. Let's keep going, right? Traveled in peace to the land of Yam with the army which accompanied you. A letter that you were bringing back all sorts of presents, important and beautiful. Hathor, as you see it. Owl gave for the Ka of the king of Upper and Lower Kemet, Neferkara, may he live eternally and forever. In your letter that you will bring back a pygmy for the dances of the Necheru, and coming from the land of the inhabitants, this and similar to the pygmy which the treasurer of the Necheru brought back from Punt in the time of the king Assesi. So the pygmies were sought after for their dancing ability. This is a letter being written to the governor by someone else, right? So anyone talking about Kemet couldn't read, nothing's deciphered, they didn't understand each other. Nonsense, yo. All you got to do is go into the tomb, man. They're telling you directly. You ain't got to go into the tomb. This is on the outside door. Outside door. King Assesi wrote him a letter, right? He's saying in the time of Assesi, pardon me. So let's keep going. You also say to my majesty, never before has such a pygmy been brought back by any of those who have visited the land of Yam. It is said that each year, which your royal lord wishes and praises, you pass by your days and your nights thinking of doing that which your lord wishes, praises, and commands. He will act such that the numerous and excellent honors which are yours shall also please the sons of your son, and that men will say, when they hear what my majesty has done for you, is there any parallel to that which was done for the sole companion Herkueth when he came back from the land of Yam, because of the diligence with which he carried out what wished, praised, and commanded? So this brother did his job so well. One of the best answers, obviously, that no one ever thought that they would ever and respect that he did. Ever get the type of praise and respect that he did. Let's go further. Come back then to the north, to the residence. Bring with you the pygmy which you have brought from the land of the inhabitants of the horizon. So let me be clear. If they're calling Nubia the land of the horizon, that's like the land of the Arquette. You understand? That's high praise. Very high praise for the place called Yam. You understand? There's no disrespect. Disrespected is because he's a traitor. Just like a Rametch who's a traitor. And so when they wrote something about a particular Nubian in a particular state in Nubia, it didn't mean the whole of Nubia. It didn't mean the whole of Khenti-hen-nefer. Do you understand? because people will bring up, oh, you nappy headed, this, that, the other, and you did this, and then they tie him to the front of the boat. That was for a trader. And be clear about that particular trader. Like that, so was the Asiatic who tried to help him. He was tied. He was even worse. Even he was humiliated even worse. He had to do what they call a dog walk. He was tied to the back of the boat, front of the boat. They met their demise. And he was brought back by who? By More Nahesi with Ramech for his act of treason. The Amos. This is the normal in between Sudan and Punt, different locales, further up than Kemet to the south, going towards the Sudan. Let's finish this tumor. It says this. It says, "Come back then to the north. Leave everything and bring with you the pygmy which you have brought from the land of the inhabitants of the horizon, alive and in good health and strong, so that he may dance for the Netcher, rejoicing the heart of the king of Upper and Lower Kemet, Nefer Kara. May he live eternally. If you come with him in the ship, men about him on both sides of the boat, and take care that he does not fall into the water. If he lies down to sleep during the night, sleep beside him in his tent. Go and check 10 times in the night. Make sure everything is okay. We don't want him falling and rolling out because he's shorter. Some of the boats, maybe not the most secure in the world. Because my majesty wishes to see this pygmy more than all the tributes of Sinai or Punt. If you reach the residence and the pygmy is with you, alive, in good health, and strong, he will do great things for you, more important than those which were done for the treasurer of the Netcher. Be awarded in the time of the king Assessi, according to the desire which my majesty has to see this famous pygmy. Orders have been sent to the chief of the new town, sole companion and steward of the priests, to command that victuals be taken by his care in every warehouse, town, and without exception." All this from one tomb. Brother Heracles' tomb. As we look inside it a little bit. So you have to understand. That the general, the treasurer, the interpreter, lector, the Anpu, if you will, scribe of the divine books, etc., etc. That's the brother right there, man. He had a big job. This is the Kador. You see it? And not only did he go to ancient Kemet and beyond, he went down to Punt in the Sudan, regulate those who were out of control, but also to do business and to look out for our fellow Nahesi brothers. So if you don't know who who Anpu is by now, or what an Anpu is, description as elector priest. If you don't know that Nubia and Egypt, I'll say those names. If you don't know that Kemet and Khenti-hen-nefer were on good terms, in most cases, and you just seen a brother go down to the state of Yam, Nefer, and the king of Yam governor, if I'm not mistaken, sent troops with him to go regulate the Tamahu. Alone. That's how secure he felt about it. I could go there by myself. So with dispelling myths today, we're also looking at occupation. As you could clearly see, the brother has several titles, several things that you should learn from a man of that caliber and nature. And this you should be able to go forth with and say, anyone as silly as have to gain by learning from Nubia or Kemet, you know, you should easily be able to tell them now. You should easily be able to describe Anpu as a elected priest. I'm not going to keep saying all this information. I'm just going to let it be what it is. We dropped it there. I think if you don't want to come in, there's the link to get in. But this should be clear for you. This is not mysterious information. This is not, it doesn't even have to be dragged out. I feel those who are being asked by our good brothers from the Hebrews, ISUPK, a man walk around with a dog's head really exist? These are easy questions to answer. A mystery. That if you haven't homework, or if you don't have the time to go find some of the sources, you know, ask a brother who knows. Ask a heckin' who knows, right? Praiser who knows. I know. So I can tell you. And I can take you into another place and show you where the brothers are graduating. Reggie on that, right? Graduating through the Astarian terms, the lector, becoming the Anpu. So don't be, you know, this is not, don't misconstrue the information. Not a major secret. No, and if you don't know, come ask. Asking those who don't really know, who don't really know. They don't go to, they don't, if you're not going to school for this, you're not self-educating yourself on this, you're not digging into this, stop trying to represent it on a major talk show. Doesn't mean you can't represent it through your daily life. You can't take some of the elements of it, but get endowed. Get endowed. And we'll ask some of these talk shows to stop asking people who just don't know. Some people just don't know. But we know. Remember who you are. Be an Asar. Uncle Jocelyn. Dua for listening.